Ready and racing.
Welcome to the Dogcast for Greyhound Racing SA. Visit grsa.com.au.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Dogcast, brought to you by Greyhound Racing SA. I'm your host, Brenton Yates, and joined, as always, by Greyhound Racing SA's racing manager, Shaun Mathieson, who we've got back on deck for today. And Matho, we've got a look at a couple of pieces of trophy and rug memorabilia that will be up for grabs on Thursday night. So we've got the National Sprint rug, and this is the National Distance trophy for the state divisional finals that we'll be having on Thursday night.
Yeah, going to be wonderful races, and as you mentioned, great to have these. The rugs are beautiful.
Yeah,
you know, the participants really love those and the trophy as well. So not only when they win and then they can progress to the national finals, they get this wonderful trophies as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So we'll cover it all off. We'll look at how it's turned up to be as far as the sprint final is concerned, what happened in the heats last week. We'll also have a bit of a look back to the last month or so of racing, a couple of key features that we'll touch off on, and we'll get stuck into a full preview as well of the two big ones on Thursday night here at Angle Park.
The Week in Review.
Our Week in Review is brought to you by the Fresh Pet Food Co. We're proud suppliers of fresh pet food for our GAP SA greyhounds in the GAP prison programs. They are based right here in SA. You can visit their website, freshpetfoodco.com.au for more information. Matho, time to look back at the sprint heats from last Thursday night. We had two heats in all. The first four made it through to the final. Obviously, the first of them, we had four runners going around there, so they all qualified, but boy, did we see Could Be King at his absolute best.
Yeah, absolutely. The small fields, and obviously with only four in the first heat, really suited Could Be King down to the ground. Coming back from the 595, I know the Rawlings team were looking at the dog progressing up to the 700 metres, maybe for the national distance.
Okay.
But the couple of runs over 595, I think they probably felt maybe go back to the 530, and what an outstanding performance it was. It was the right decision, it would seem.
Yeah.
But running, 30-35, we know he's such a good dog with clear running. He won the match race series earlier in the year at Easter time. And it was sort of that type of race. He really chased down hard Coron Cam. He got a nice run into the race, but really powerful at the end and raced away, winning by 3 lengths. Coron Cam does what Coron Cam does.
Yeah.
Leads, gives them every opportunity to run Coron Cam down, and on this occasion they did, but still a really solid effort by Coron Cam. And Basil Brush Rose, again, walked out of the boxes and was able to get into third place. And Springvale Max qualified. Springvale Max not racing as well as what he can, but obviously the first four all qualify for the national final. Yeah,
I thought he got to the rail in plenty of time, Springvale Max, in the early part, despite drawing the 8. Could Be King was a bit slow out. He was sort of back in the ruck early, and just going to that first bend, I was just a bit concerned about the lack of acceleration there. But then sort of when he went through the pen, and then you could see that 5 or 6 length margin, he was just starting to eat into that. And then obviously really strong late, which I'm sure has got a bit to do with dropping back from that recent 595 racing too.
You're a big one of that, Yates, aren't you? When they get that 595 stamina, if you like, and they go back to the 530, they tend to perform more times than not.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a new PB for Could Be King as well. The second of our state divisional heats, taken out by Dash of Blue, who Richard Pearce has got going in terrific form at the moment. 30-56 the winning time there. Yeah,
really good run. Picket fence form for Dash of Blue, and really strong too. Beginning a bit better as well, I think. And so was able to race up. Again, a small 6-dog field, a smallish field, suited some of the stronger performers, and Dash of Blue is definitely one of those. 30-56, which is good going, because he really didn't see the rail at all. He was off the track for most of the race. Springvale Maddie, good run, I thought. She began well, and she has really good speed early, so she'll be a bit of a player in the final when we get to that.
It was a much improved run by her, though, wasn't it? We hadn't seen that sort of run for a little bit, and it was good to see her fly the lids and get back to some of her better form around times that count.
Well, she had been running over the shorter course through the North versus South challenge. And without a scrap of luck in any of those. So back to the 530, not as much early pressure, obviously, over the 530 metre journey, and was able to, as you said, jump to the front, much better performance by her, which is really good to see because we know she's got plenty of ability.
Yep.
And Reality Infrared as well for Kia Hurley, a good run, stepping up to this sort of open company, is doing a good job for them. And their team is actually going really well, the Hurleys.
And, of course, Ravers Army qualifying into fourth spot. Very unlucky in the early part of the race.
Yep.
Probably, if you line them up down the back, it was probably similar run home to Dash of Blue. There was sort of 3 lengths between them and sort of ended up about that in the end.
Yep.
So their run homes were quite similar, but I thought Ravers Army was a bit unlucky in that first part of the race.
Yeah, I just think, we know how good he is over that middle distance, just over the 5:30, just that he wants to get to the rail and he doesn't have brilliant speed out. So he's always sort of needing that touch of luck, particularly in the early part of the event to get a spot. We know he's really strong over the concluding stages. So again, he sort of did the job for Tim to qualify, and then it's sort of up to him in the final.
Now let's have a look back at a couple of other features. The Champion Puppy, we have a look at that final. So we had a real hot favourite here. One Last Kiss for Bill Wadarchik started $1.28
Yes.
and was beaten. Footrod Fender taking it out for Bosco.
Yeah, Bosco, I know Bosco was very happy after the event, and he did comment on the 4 hours of study that I did and missed his dog altogether because he felt his dog was a much better run than Buzz the Hustler, which I sort of highlighted on the show at that time. And to be fair, Footrod Fender was a good run in the heats and produced it in the final. And I think the start was key for Footrod Fender in the Champion Puppy. Got a really good jump and was able to just sit right up on speed. Buzz the Hustler, a really nice run. Again, even off the back straight, I thought it was still a chance. Copped a little bit of a check in trying to manoeuvre into second spot, and that sort of allowed Footrod Fender to have that winning break. And Hurricane Carter, good run to run third after leading up. One Last Kiss Yatesy, desperately unlucky. Poleaxe on the first turn. Hopefully for Bill Wadarchik, it's not one of these dogs that just tends to find some trouble. It's found a bit of trouble a couple of times, not of its own doing, mind you, but plenty of ability. And, at that short quote, felt a bit bad for Bill because, with average luck, it probably wins, as we spoke about on the show, and it got none of it. So...
Yeah, and they've both gone on to win as well, the first two dogs. Footrod Fender, Buzz the Hustler, have both gone on to win again. So the form line strength is going to be quite good going forward. So well done to Bosco and his team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the point you make, they've gone on one. Whilst it was a small field, I think the depth is there. And Buzz the Hustler, really nice. Won at Murray Bridge recently over the 5:30, so probably a middle distance dog in the making. And Footrod Fender, really exciting for Bosco. And it's great to see them having some good success with feature races. It was 18 years between drinks for them for the Champion Puppy when Bothing won it.
Wow.
So they can definitely get them to go. So I'm glad they've got a nice one.
Not unlike Bosco either to share his peace of mind with you, is it?
No. He was absent from the dais after the race, but he certainly voiced his opinion afterwards.
Good on you, Bosco. Keep it up, mate. Now, the North v South Challenge is the other feature, Matho, that just wanted to touch on. So this was the series that was run at Gawler and Murray Bridge in a heat scenario with the final series at Gawler. And it was Dash of Blue, who we've already spoken about, for Richard Pearce taking out the final. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, well, Drew box 1 in the final, and there was some scratchings, only a 6-dog final we ended up with, and he certainly had the advantage in the box draw and made full use of it. He was able to punch up on the first turn, as we said before in the show. The dog is beginning much better, and so was able to punch up, get a really good position just off the speed. Finish Whisper and Finish Surprise for Ryan Tugwell and Lauren Harris both ran really well, set the speed in the race, but Dash of Blue, just the power, the last little bit of the race, the 5:31 at Gawler, really raced away to win by 2.5 lengths. As I said, Finish Surprise and Finish Whisper running good runs into second and third, which was the 500-metre edition of the North versus South. And we also had the short course edition of the North versus South, which was over the 400 metres, and that was taken out by the reserve Yates.
Yeah.
Go Snow for Tamika Dunn and Michael Stewart.
Yep.
I was a bit worried they weren't going to turn up because they only had the one dog in for the meeting, and it was the reserve, and I'm glad they did because it ran a bold race. And again, it was a dog like Springvale Maddie, as we spoke about. Hasn't been having a lot of luck in those short course races. Got Drew box 3 and was able to lead, and from there was never headed. I mean, had Toby West chasing nice and hard, and we know Toby West goes really good, equal track record holder there at Gawler, and then Diesel Runner for third. So the North versus South was split again this year. The North and South, it was 1-1.
Yep.
So the last 2 years it's been 1-1. So who knows what might happen next year.
Well, terrific. That's a look back at everything that's happened over the last month or so that's been of some good substance. So let's get into what it looks like on Thursday night. The preview up next.
The preview.
The preview is brought to you by SA Greyhound Tips Twitter feed. Free tips for SA Metro Greyhound meetings. Search @TheDogsSA and get on board. As always, of course, gamble responsibly. Well, big night Thursday night, Matho. We've got the state divisional finals of the sprint and distance. Now, what's the path for the winner after here? Where do they go to for the big final?
Yeah, so each winner over the sprint and distance will qualify to be South Australia's representative for the national finals to be held at the Meadows Saturday, I think about the 26th of August. So there's a couple of weeks. So the opportunity will be whoever qualifies, they possibly can jump across the border, have a trial, settle in if they know someone in Victoria. But I know the Meadows and all that will look to assist participants from all over Australia to get their dogs in the best possible preparation for the finals. But really exciting. It's one of the series I look forward to every year because on this night, Yatesy, on the Thursday night, all the state finals from across Australia are run. Western Australia are on Wednesday night because of their programming, but every other state is run on Thursday night. There's Sky 2 coverage blocked out just for the state finals. Lockie Stace will be doing a bit of hosting on Sky 2.
Fantastic.
For our feature races, so really looking forward to that. And it's a real showcase of the national. So no doubt, whoever qualifies for SA will represent us proudly at the national finals, and hopefully they have some luck there. The first job they got to do, Yatesy, is qualify.
All right, well, let's have a look at the market and the box draw. So we'll start off with the distance. So Under Siege at $12. This is on the Tab Fix market. Zipping Neutron, $1.40, the hot favourite for the state divisional final. Zoe Rose at $12, box 3. Box 4, Miss Artemis at $23. 6 Dashing Deb at $23. 7 Bedrock Fred at $5.50. And box 8, Springvale Rex at $7.50. Matho, selection. Zipping Neutron looking to make it 10 wins in a row, $1.40.
Wow, 10 in a row, $1.40. Yeah, super hard to beat. I think, again, with sort of just even bad luck, I think he's the best stayer in the state, and he should prove that on Thursday night. $1.40, it's short enough, I think. There's a few extra dogs in the mix this week. So,
what are you looking to as far as the dangers?
Well, no, I think the dangers are still your hardened performers like your Bedrock Fred and your Springvale Rex. They're still the dangers because they've been there, done that. They've got form. But Zipping Neutron has shown he's got their measure.
Yeah.
I think the likes of Zoe Rose, though, which for Tony Lagana, which does step up from the $5.95 to the $7.30. First go, I mean, that's a tough ask. But Zoe Rose has shown over the $5.95, it's had some adversity in its runs and been really powerful at the end. So I think she could be one of the most interesting runners on the night about what she could possibly do. But I mean, I just don't think she could handle Zipping Neutron at this stage, but I definitely think she can run a bold race.
And there's been very strong money support for her at some of those runs that you're talking about. Like, she's been fancied for a little while now. It's probably a month or so where she's been really fancied by the market. So that tells me she's going well. This is another step. It's both a step in grade and distance and, can she do it? $12 you can probably pay to find out. But I mean, the thing with Zipping Neutron for me is lately what we've been seeing is just the same pattern. So bounce out pretty well, go to the first bend with some sort of position, into the home straight, really start to make the move, and then heading into the back, take over and sort of go away with things. It's probably hard for me to see how some of those experienced campaigners you spoke about turn the tables on what we've been seeing. So for me, that's hard for my mind to figure out as to how it happens. Trouble is the only thing that springs to mind for me for that to happen. And just the way Zippy Neutron's been boxing, I'm just finding it difficult to see that trouble happening.
Well, I think that's a good point. I think perhaps earlier on, maybe a few months ago, maybe box 2, you might go, oh, I might get crossed or might then find a little bit of trouble. But he is beginning really well.
Yeah.
So I don't, actually, and whilst he's been coming from wider draws of late in small fields, I don't think box 2 is a real issue.
Yeah.
Are you saying?
I mean, if it is, maybe he does like a bit of room.
Yeah.
So a little bit of space. But look, it's very hard for me to tip against a greyhound going for 10 in a row. And look, $1.40 might turn out to be pretty good in the end.
Yeah.
So look, I've gone Zippy Neutron number 2 to beat Bedrock Fred. I think it's got to get over to the fence, Bedrock Fred, at some point in the race. And I think to do that, it's going to be behind Zippy Neutron. So to peel that margin back, I don't see how that could happen. I've whacked in Zoe Rose for third because a very interesting one who's coming through and has had good support. And Springvale Rex was the other one that I wound out the first 4. So what are your first 4 numbers there, Matho?
You know, I'm similar to you. I've Zippy Neutron on top. I'll put Zoe Rose in for third for second. Sorry, I think because she can run a pretty big race. I think, and then the 2 experienced ones, Bedrock Fred and Springvale Rex. The other dogs that have stepped up into the race, Under Siege and Miss Artemis, are the other dogs sort of in the mix, if you like. Interesting to see how they go because Under Siege has been going really good for Don Turner.
Yeah.
Particularly probably at that sort of next level down has been going really good. So a good step up. And Miss Artemis has always shown in her races that she's always running home. So I think they could be some nice ones for the future. But definitely you've got to have Zippy Neutron on top. And I mean, that would be an amazing effort to 10 in a row and then to represent SA. So I mean, the dog's going super. So we wish them all the best of luck in the run.
All right. What about the state divisional final of the sprint? I've got the market here. Or have you got the box draw? Do you want to go through this one for us?
Okay. Well, the market and the box draw. So 1 Springvale Maddie, $10. 2 Springvale Max, $10. 3 Could Be King, $3.40. 4 Ravers Army at $4.60. 5 Coron Cam, $4.60. Reality Infrared, $13. Basil Brush Rose, $19. Dash of Blue out of the 8. $4.20 in the reserves, Razzle Darrell 19 and 10 Fat Boys Lucky 21. The favourite for the race Could Be King at $3.40, but you've got 4 dogs there, Yatesy, that are effectively $3 to $4, indication of sort of how wide open this is. I suppose you go to you first. I mean, what's your take on the race? Probably where you think the main chances will land and because there's some speed and strength in the race. Again, a good mix.
Yeah, there is. And a full field as well, which is also going to be interesting given what we saw through the heats with the smaller fields. You know, who can handle what and who gets the luck and who doesn't. Look, a terrific betting race as far as the market's concerned. You spoke about those sort of 4 greyhounds that are within that dollar range or so. And then you've got Springvale Maddie and Springvale Max who are just sort of hitting the double figures. So really you've got 6 that are probably really strongly in the mix. Look, I like Dash of Blue purely because of what you spoke about, position in running and where the trouble may or may not be and where the speed and strength may or may not land. So I see Coron Cam coming out and getting a pretty clear run directly underneath him early because there's Ravers Army and Could Be King drawn there. So going to be out a lot better than them. Getting over toward the inside and Springvale Maddie booting through or Coron Cam getting in front, don't know, but I know they'll probably be in the speed battle together. Maybe getting over, maybe not. I see Dash of Blue. So you're saying box 1 in the final of the North v South that was able to boot through and hold. But the key to that race, where he won it in my view, is when he actually got off on the first turn because he came out, there was space, and he likes to be that 2 or 3 off and then coming into it. So I think you said he was off a wide run and too good and strong. So that to me is where I think he likes to race. And that to me is where I think he's going to be able to get to because Basil Brush Rose won't begin. Coron Cam will have begun and have already pushed over, so you don't have to worry there. Reality Infrared will be trying to work in somewhere. To me, he's going to have this room underneath to move up and posse up, maybe about 4th, going around that first bend behind Springvale Maddie, Springvale Max possibly, and also Coron Cam. Reality Infrared may be in that shuffle, but he's intelligent enough to stay off. He doesn't try and get down. You're going to have Ravers Army and Could Be King. I would think they're probably going to be going together at some point in behind that front group and looking for the same spot. and maybe or maybe not bumping into each other. But look, I thought Dash of Blue was going to get the clearest run.
Yeah.
With the exception of the early leader, if they can get across and burn.
Yeah.
But your comments earlier to me, I feel, are true about the early speed and strength in this race, that the early speed may not be able to hold off the strength if the strength can get a clear run, if you know what I mean. So what do you reckon?
No, I agree with you. I might have a slightly different take of who gets that run, but my view is that I think we both would agree Coron Cam and Springvale Matty effectively are the speed in the race, but they do struggle to get a really strong 5:30. So they're a little bit vulnerable just at the end. They could easily win it with a bit of trouble in behind. But I think probably our view is that one or two of the stronger types are going to get a run, which is going to give them a shot at running down the leaders. Probably my take on it is, I agree with you. Coron Cam comes out and Springvale Matty also comes out. Springvale Matty likes to shift off a little bit. And the only thing with Coron Cam, it might just take a little bit to maybe accelerate past, if that's the case. Springvale Max, which out of the two begins well but goes straight to the rail. That's where he will be.
Here's the thing with him. Like, ideally, if you're mapping it, he probably slots into the spot.
He's got the run,
But the last week for me was I just couldn't have him on that run because he got to that spot anyway last week and couldn't really finish it off. He got passed in the end by Basil Brush Rose, I think it was. So, look, he sets up to actually get the best run in the race.
Agreed.
But just the lead in form, I just can't sort of find him.
Agreed, yeah. I'd say that the Springvale Max, to be fair, of a couple of months ago, gets the gun run and it's the dog to beat. But he's just not in that sort of form, it would seem. But he will go straight to the rail and be riding behind the speed. I think for me, Could Be King's possibly the dog that will actually get the run and push up on the first turn and into the catching pen and then be able to just sort of shoulder his way out and get some clear running.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking, because if Max goes to the railway behind the speed, Could Be King, so long as he doesn't, again, it's with Could Be King, and I know you're a huge fan of this dog, that so long as he doesn't just sort of want to come out on the first turn, he just holds his line, I think the run will appear for him into the catching pen.
Do you think he's out quicker than Raver's Army?
Yeah, I think he can. I think Raver's Army wants to go straight to the rail, and I think even if they come out together, Raver's Army will look to come behind Could Be King. But ultimately, Could Be King, if he gets crossed by Raver's Army, then he's going to end up being too far back, I'd say. But I think he'll come out good enough, hold a spot, and maybe range up to the outside of Springvale Max and maybe sort of shoulder his way out, is what I'm thinking.
Yep.
My thing with Dash of Blue, agree totally what you've said. He's going to get a nice run across because there's no speed around him. Definitely Basil Brush Rose, no speed. Relative Infrared does come out, but as you said, we'll be looking to get in somewhere. So I think he has the clear running. It's just, I almost think it's a little bit of like who beats who to the spot.
Yep.
If Dash of Blue gets to that spot, dog to beat. If Coron Cam can come through the inside and get to that spot, then he's the dog to beat. I'm taking a slightly different view that Could Be King can get that run. I do think, though, that they'll chase down the leaders, but I'd be very mindful of Coron Cam. If it was able to begin, accelerate away, get straight past Springvale Matty, I think he could pinch a nice break as well. So I definitely think he's in the mix, but I just think they're going to be coming late.
The other thing to throw into the equation is if Raver's Army begins a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the bad luck was very costly. I'm tipping Dash of Blue, as I said, but that race could easily have gone the other way had they posied in different sections last week. And Raver's Army lost 2 or 3 lengths going to the first turn and was beaten that margin in the end. So he's clearly got the quickest time on the board, 30 and 14, the best that we've seen Raver's Army go. So I think it's well and truly in the mix, but I think it shapes up to be a terrific final, a really good final.
I think with those two, I think the key for both Could Be King and Raver's Army, their chances depend on who's in front of the other, I think. Because if Raver's Army, as you said, is in front of Could Be King, that means he's on the back of Springvale Max, right? And so then he's not that far away from the speed and the run's there. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely in the mix. I mean, it's a wide open race. I mean, it's a reflection probably of a lot of our free-fallers in recent weeks that have been going around. It's a good mix of our best dogs in the state, and no doubt whoever can qualify will do us proud in Victoria.
All right, selections. I've gone Dash of Blue, number 8, to beat 3 Could Be King, 4 Ravers Army, and I just couldn't help tossing Springvale Max in, just where I thought the run would be. So 8, 3, 4 and 2, and that's leaving out the speed in the race. So yeah.
So, I mean, I like Could Be King. I'll have Coron Cam to run second. I think Springvale Matty can hang on for third, and I do like Dash of Blue for fourth. But, again, I think like a lot of our feature races, the run to the first turn is going to be crucial to see who can either pinch a break or who gets that beautiful sit.
Okay, Matho, best bet time. Thursday night. What do you come up with as the one to put the star next to?
Okay, well, normally I'm going race 12, and people are telling me, can we get an earlier best bet? Because they're happy to wait till race 12, but they want a bit of money to play with during the
reinvest,
night. Yeah. I know. So we're going to go race 1, and it's number 2.
Wow. Okay.
Race 1, nice and early. Get your money early. Number 2, She's All Cheek. These are heats. These are a final from heats that were run on Saturday morning. She's All Cheek won their heat. Was quite impressive. A little bit of adversity in the run.
Yep.
Landed second, but was too strong over the concluding stages, beaching Gucci Gibbler. I think the dog will get a very, very similar run, drawn a lot closer to the rail. Really hard to beat for Kim Johnson. Another kennel going really well, as we mentioned Kia Hurley, but Kim Johnson, they're definitely going quite good for her. So I like race 1, number 2, She's All Cheek on Thursday night. Yatesy, what did you like?
I've gone race 3. Number 1, Zipping Mahalia. I thought there were probably going to be just 2 in the market here, contending. So Call Me Jakes, box 7 for Bosco. And Zipping Mahalia off the inside for Nikki Price, who, she'd put back-to-back wins together here at Angle Park. One of those from an inside draw started $1.30, booted up and led. I expect she's going to be red figures, but I don't think it's going to be crazy. I think like $1.75, $1.80, I'm hoping it will be available. The problem I've got with Call Me Jakes is from the draw. So I think he definitely wants the rail, and 7 I think could be a bit of an issue. So we'll go race 3, number 1, Matho, Zipping Mahalia.
Excellent.
Thursday night.
Well, you also know with some of Bosco's team, if they're supported in the market, you know that they reckon they're a chance. So if he's around, just stays around the normal price, and I think you're good, Yatesy.
All right, well, there we go. There's the big preview of Thursday night. So there's the distance trophy, the sprint rug, and we'll find out who represents South Australia in Melbourne this Thursday night for the sprint and distance time.